And it was this guy who took ayahuasca, and he took like 3 bowls of ayahuasca.
No.
And so he lived like his first 30 years of his life in, I guess, a different like version of it, like in a multiverse version of it, right?
That's how they get you though. Looking back at it, it's like that marketing. McDonald's like in the 90s, early 2000s was just prime, bro.
I told my grandpa that I wanted a bike, and he went to go get me a bike. And I ended up picking up a pink bike, like a hot pink bike, bro.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Untapped Potential Podcast. Today, we got a Roundtable Talk. I'm your host, Max Prado, here with my host.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Max, you sound a little different this season, man.
Are you sure about that, Chris?
Oh, I'm sure. Sure Microphones has been making us sound crisp for 4 seasons. That's a long time.
For real, if these content creators want to up their audio game, they got to make sure to shop with Sure. We got the link in the description. Make sure you tap in. Let's get back to the episode, though.
I'm here with my hoe, is what he was going to say.
Here with my hoe. Here with my hoe coast.
Here with my hoe.
Let's do that again, man. Oh, my God. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Untapped Potential Podcast. Today, we got a roundtable talk for y'all. I'm your host, Max Prado, here with my co-host, Chris.
What's up, fam?
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Feeling good. Another film day, another, episode for the season, man. And I'm excited. It's a roundtable talk with just you and me.
Yeah, man. We got some great topics to talk about today, but how about we kick off with some reaction videos, man? I've been seeing some crazy stuff on TikTok lately.
Yeah, for sure. I got some funny videos for you, Max. This feels almost like you remember watching America's Home Videos?
Yeah. This is like the current version of that, right?
Exactly. This is the Gen Z version of it. This is an ad that popped up on my TikTok. It's a political ad.
Wait for it. I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because of cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
Nah, he's wrong for that.
They're bold nowadays, bro.
He could have said anything. This man had a choice, and he chose to say that.
Call a crackhead. I love that line at the end, man. That is just hilarious. Obviously, this is a poor example of the state of our politics right now.
What a guy, man.
But even the guy in the bag just couldn't help himself, in the video. All right, here's another one I found for you.
10 years old. We is in Oakland, California. Do your thing, young homie. Got your license? Nah. Not yet? You know what you're doing, though, huh? Yeah. All right. You say, God bless you.
God bless you. Yo, the confidence.
I love how honest this little kid is, man.
Yeah, he's like all calm about it, too. He's like, you got your license? Nah.
So for those on the podcast, on the audio only, there's this kid in a truck who was at a traffic light in Oakland. This guy pulled up next to him. There's a 10-year-old driving the truck. And he's just, being so smooth with it, man. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's like working for his parents or what. But I used to see that all the time in Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure in Mexico. Small towns too, man. I grew up in Othello. It was common to see, especially out out of town, like young kids driving all the time. And also for the audio only listeners, that car has a ton of dings on it. So I don't know if that kid did it. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's confident. But man, I wouldn't doubt he probably hit that thing a few times.
Yeah, the little Tykes cars, man, they look different nowadays. They look a little bit more realistic.
This kid don't look past 10.
All right, one more. I lied.
How you doing, Ryan? You remember me?
No.
From college. Cookie Monster, right?
No.
Cookie Monster. Yeah, Cookie Monster. This guy in college, can I tell her? That's it?
Sure.
We used to play this game in college where a bunch of guys would stand around a cookie.
Why does he look so nervous?
And the last one would have to eat the cookie. No one ever ate the cookie. This sick
It's the only one that ever ate it.
I'm regretting shaking your hand.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't know.
This is a stranger, right?
Yeah,
And
this is a stranger.
Why did the guy in the red stick around for so long? Like, he looked like he was actually interested in what he had to say.
You know, have you ever gotten into those situations where somebody recognizes you, but you don't recognize them?
Yeah.
I feel like he was trying to play along with it because I don't know, maybe he was too nice of a guy.
Poor guy, man. That's funny. Yeah.
But yeah, those are my funny videos of the week, Max.
That's good, man. That's funny. Yeah, dude. I'm on TikTok all the time. It's crazy what you find on there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still thinking about that Louisiana guy, though, man. Call a crackhead?
Call a crackhead.
Sir, you are an elected official.
It's like, how about you do your job? And
you are 70 years old, sir. Like, maybe retire instead. Yeah, Chris. So, man, lately I've been getting a lot of nostalgia, man. I don't know if it's just me, but, you know, McDonald's is bringing back the adult Happy Meals. And just kind of everywhere I look, man, I feel like there's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
What's a memory you remember, like, growing up that kind of makes you feel good?
Ooh. See, 90s pants are coming back too, right? So all this nostalgia, like you mentioned, is coming back. But for me, man, you ever watched that Batman movie with George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Bro, to be honest, growing up, I wasn't a big, like, movie guy.
Oh,
So
really?
I haven't seen it, no.
Damn. Yeah, it was one of the best ones, man. It was with Dr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, like all these villains and Anyway, for my 6th birthday, pretty sure it was my 6th birthday, my dad got me this Batman car. And like in the front of it, it would shoot like this, like the Batwing. And it was in the shape of like a Dr. Freeze, like Batman symbol.
Oh, gotcha.
And it was cool. And so when I think of like the 90s, I think of all like the toys like that, you know, like we're talking about the McDonald's boxes.
Yeah.
Where it used to come with like a really cool little toy. I don't know if you went to like McDonald's a bunch of times to like get all the different variants of the toy.
All the time, bro.
Yeah.
All the time.
I remember going to McDonald's because they used to have like the Power Rangers toys. Or like it was a different version of Power Rangers, not the original one, but they had like Power Rangers toys in it. And I would like try to get my mom to go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal so I can get like the different types of toys and stuff so I can build my little collection.
Yep. That's how they get you, though. You know, looking back at it, it's like that marketing. McDonald's, like in the 90s, early 2000s was just prime, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like their toys, they would give CDs sometimes. They got real creative with it.
Yeah, dude.
It was good. And I was a sucker for McDonald's, bro. Like I'd be there all the time. You know, in the McDonald's in Othello, they actually had a ball pit.
Oh,
so that was like mine and my cousin's like favorite thing to do. They stopped doing it when I was like 6. So these are like core memories for me, like 3 to 6 years old. We'd pull up, order a Happy Meal, and go play in the ball pit, bro.
That's
and
dope.
Like it's dope because it was like a tall ball pit. Like as a little kid, like you're in there, you're like swimming in balls.
What do you mean by that?
And it was like really
swimming in balls. This guy.
Nah, but it was fun, man. You know, like you're a kid and you're just trying to have fun. And I feel like back then it was a cool experience. Now McDonald's is like super corporate and it's like you just pull up, they don't even have the toys half the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see like the artist collabs, right? With like the Travis Scott McDonald's collab, the Sweetie collab. I think they had a Cardi B one too. So it's like trending in a different direction away from like the cartoon shows and like all that crap.
Yeah, man.
But speaking about the ball pit though, dude, you like looking back on it though, that was like a cesspool of like bacteria and just nastiness, dude. I remember like I didn't go in a ball pit or whatever, but you know, one of the like the food like fast food like playground areas.
Right.
I went in and I checked it out and it was so dirty. It looked like they didn't clean it since the 90s, bro. So it looked disgusting in there. So imagine that and just like your kid like just walking all over that. And I'm surprised we didn't get like any staph infections or anything from that, bro.
For sure. No, I think that's why they closed down the one in Othello, because I think they found a needle in there or something.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, the bad decisions of few, you know, impact, you know, everybody else. So
Damn.
But man, going back to another memory I have is, and going back to just the different childhoods that we had, like in the, like for me, the early 2000s, you know, late 90s, it's like kids used to have so much more freedom, right? Like jumping in a ball pit, going to McDonald's by yourself sometimes, like riding bikes with friends. And that's a big thing that I used to do is like, we just ride bikes all day. And one of the bikes, man, there used to be levels to this bike thing, bro. Like the Mongoose, like you were prime, like you were at the top if you had a Mongoose bike. And then there was the Next. That was like cool. You were good. You were a solid dude. You rode the Next. And then like bottom tier was like the Huffy.
Oh, yeah.
And these are all Walmart bikes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like these are the tiers, right? The biggest store in Othello was Walmart. So that's all we really had to compare. But man, I got a Mongoose bike for like my 10th birthday, bro. And that's like a core memory. So every time I see like a kid on a Mongoose bike, I'm like, man, that kid's probably so happy. I remember, bro, like I felt like I was on top of the world. I rode it from Walmart to my house.
Damn.
Like by myself. I was 10 years old. I was so happy, man.
It's like the equivalent of you getting a car, you
For
know?
real,
Like
yeah.
getting that little piece of freedom and you can just kind of go anywhere.
Yeah, because I literally moved up in life, bro. I used to have a Huffy. And so like I went from like a Huffy to a Mongoose, like literally going from like a Honda to like a Lambo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Overnight. So
That's dope.
just like really nice memories, man. I like that. And yeah, it's just like a little nostalgic.
You know what's funny is so growing up I spent like a couple years in Mexico before I came to the US or came back to the US. Long story. But the first bike I got there, I told my grandpa that I wanted a bike, and he went to go get me a bike, and I ended up picking up a pink bike, like a hot pink bike, bro.
You chose it
Yeah,
though?
I chose it.
Okay, yeah.
I was like 4 years old, bro, and hot pink bike, dude. It was like the girliest bike. I don't know why they let me walk away with it.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, yeah.
Bro, Mexico, you're probably getting roasted out there for that.
Dude, I kept getting roasted even with the US bike I got. So after I got the pink bike in Mexico and I moved back over here, I think when I was like 8 years old, I got my next bike, and it was a Huffy bike. But the only one that they had was like this one that was purple and in dark, like black. So it was mainly purple though. So I got roasted just for having a purple bike.
Man.
And I was like, bro, this is an upgrade from hot pink.
You went up a shade.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. Yeah, it's so crazy to see the difference between like our upbringings and the new kids now. It's like just iPads, and you occasionally see kids playing out on the street, but it's just such a different world. You know, like you said, COVID now, parents are worried about their kids getting sick. It's less safe on the streets for the most part, you know, so people don't really let their kids roam around anymore. It's more in a controlled environment. But
I feel like stranger danger took over in the 90s and 80s, and I feel like that just kind of killed it for the next generation coming up, you know?
For sure. We got lucky, man. We didn't get that stranger danger.
Right.
Like, we didn't get picked up, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We followed stranger danger.
You be driving already, huh? In that car?
Yeah, hey, for real.
You getting your driver's license at 10 or what?
Yeah, man.
Didn't need to worry about that.
Let's switch over to like a more, I guess, slightly more serious topic, but more motivational, man. We've been, you know, we're transitioning from summer to fall. For a lot of people, that's a little tough, you know, like you're switching seasons. The days are getting a little shorter here in Washington, the Pacific Northwest, where we interview local visionaries. Make sure you subscribe real quick, leave a comment, like the video. But, you know, we're changing seasons. So like, bro, like what keeps you motivated when times get hard?
Yeah, man. You know, the vitamin D pills in the Northwest that they recommend you, I think that's a big key right there, right? Just to get like your internal vitamins and chemical levels all in balance. But really, I think the thing that I keep going to is, you know, sometimes like there's going to be highs and lows throughout anyone's like path, right? And so, you know, not every year or every month like you're going to keep like getting like these consecutive wins. And so I guess keeping yourself locked in on the long term and trying to reinforce like positive daily habits. For me, I think I'm trying to get back into more fitness stuff because I know that that's a key to my mental health and like just being being pretty good, like healthy mentally, and prioritizing the schedule of my day or week, you know, because we have like the editing and we have like the production side of this every season. In the fall it becomes like pretty busy for us, and for you especially, man, because you're going to school, and obviously we both have full-time jobs, so you're doing that too, and then on top of this as well. And so I think I think trying to like just be realistic with yourself and like setting expectations and realistic goals will help kind of keep you from straying too far down a negative path.
Yeah. I like what the word you use there, realistic goals. I feel like a lot of the time, even myself, I fall victim to it, but we set goals that are so high and slightly unachievable that when we don't reach them, we feel like a failure,
Mm-hmm.
and so being realistic is important for me too. But yeah, man, I think at the core of it is just knowing how to like fall down and stand back up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard. And sometimes that's a skill that you pick up just over time. But I feel like for me, that's been like a big thing for me this season is like, I'm going to hit a wall. I'm going to mess up, but I'm going to get back up and be a better person than I was before I hit that failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about mindset, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all going to mess up and make mistakes, but it's about how you learn from those mistakes and then continue to keep going. I think that's been a huge thing for me. That's what's kept me motivated, but also just being organized, like with
Yeah.
time, especially like, you touched on it, but I'm super busy right now, man, with school, work, the podcast, being a dog dad. We're training our dog a little bit
Right.
more on a high level now. And it's, and also just prioritizing relationships, right? Friendships, family, and stuff like that. I think that's important. And yeah, trying to balance all those things is tough. But I think when you block out time for everything, it's a little bit more manageable,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like what you said though about like just making time for yourself, going to the gym, prioritizing your mental health. That's been a huge thing for me, man. And it's actually kind of funny. One of the things that a professor of mine said during class last week is that he actually has a few friends that every day they text each other and ask each other, "What did you do for fun today?"
Oh, interesting.
And even if it's like a day where it's jam packed, literally from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., like he tries to do one thing that's fun, whether that's go on a walk, eat a meal, eat one of their favorite
Mm,
meals, just do something small for yourself, like that kind of rewards you for all the hard work you're doing, but also kind of just reminds you, like, hey, I'm human and I have needs and I should be meeting them like every day.
mm-hmm. And it's important because a lot of us, I mean, especially growing up with hardworking parents like we both have, they often like didn't have that time for themselves. And so, they continue to burn out and you could tell it like gets to them emotionally, mentally. And yeah, you just got to take that time for yourself, man. So,
Yeah, that's important that you touch on that. We didn't have that modeled for us growing up. So we're
right.
kind of like setting that example for ourselves. And I know we've talked about this topic a lot, so I just want to add one more quick note, but there's this guy on TikTok. His name is Josh Terry Plays. I think that's his
Mm,
name. And he does like a lot of motivational speaking. And he did a video on why his name is his name and then plays. And so his mindset is that life is like a game. And so you're just playing this game, right?
mm,
And so like regardless of what you're doing, whether that's work, the podcast, school, whatever, like just play the game and just enjoy it and realize that it's not that serious at the end
interesting.
of the day. Like you're solving problems and you're doing things, times are going to get difficult, but we've played video games before, right? You hit like
Mm-hmm.
a couple rough patches and then it gets better. That's literally life. So
Mm-hmm.
when you think of life in that way, at least for me, it kind of makes things a little bit more manageable because it's like it reminds me, yo, none of this is really that serious. And at the end of the day, I'm doing stuff I sort of enjoy or really enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like just find the light in it and enjoy it.
Yeah. And I don't mean to laugh on that, but this just reminded me of something crazy that I also heard on TikTok
Yeah.
about like life being like a game or like some sort of simulation. And it was this guy who took ayahuasca and he took like 3 bowls of ayahuasca
No.
and he had a trip so bad that he lived an entire life. This is his words, it's not mine. He lived an entire life. So he passed through like the astral, like, layer of whatever consciousness we have.
Right.
And he lived his own life all the way up to a point, and then one decision led him down a different path. And so he lived like his first 30 years of his life in, I guess, a different like version of it, like in a multiverse version of it, right? And he lived this whole life, and the last thing that he said happened was that he died in a head-on car accident. And he woke up in this body, and he remembered that over the past, like throughout his life, like his mom and other people close to him mention that, you know, I had a dream or had some like crazy like vision that you died in a car accident for some reason. And
wow.
so anyway, so that just reminded me of that shit.
That's wild.
That
bro.
life
That's
is a simulation. We could be experiencing a DMT episode. We could have taken 3 bowls in a different version, you know, in a, you know, making different decisions and stuff. And this is the life that we're living. And so when we wake up, who knows, man?
Wow, bro. That's like mind blowing. I gotta see that video, man. That's crazy.
I'll see if I can put it up in post production. But man, that just got me like on a different thought process right now.
That is wild. Yeah, man. Well, let's switch it up to let's go back to college, man. College football is back. A lot of people going back to homecoming and stuff, you know, during this time of year. What are some like crazy college dorm stories that you remember?
Yeah. So so one crazy college story is, so you know, growing up in high school, I was really good at Photoshop. I had graphic design. That's where I picked up a lot of these like video editing skills, because I used to do like video editing in my coursework in high school. And a part of that was like the Adobe suite. So Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects. So I basically grew up knowing how to do design. And I took those skills, and in college, there was no one around us that could get alcohol. Like I lived in a dorm at Washington State. Nobody could get alcohol. We like the people I was living with weren't cool enough to know anybody in a fraternity or even be a part of it. And so like we were stuck. And so I was like, you know, what would be a good idea is if I made a fake ID using Photoshop. And I just went down a rabbit hole. And long story short, after like a month and a half, after buying like a couple of pieces of equipment on Amazon, I ended up making it.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, how much did all the equipment run you?
A couple hundred probably.
Damn, okay.
So it wasn't cheap, because you got to get like the special paper, you got to get the laminate, you got to get the color ink if you don't have a color ink printer. You had to get a special type of. Yeah, this is not advice, by the way.
It's probably obsolete at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean,
IDs have like evolved to be way more secure now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's gonna be like NFTs at some point, you know?
Right.
But anyway, I got all this stuff. You know, you got to get special paint for like the UV stuff. And after like testing it and doing all that, like I finally went out and tried it at a Safeway. And it worked, dude. I got wine coolers.
How'd you feel in that moment, dude?
It's funny because the cashier definitely knew it was fake for sure.
Oh, that's
He's like, huh, you're 21, huh? Yeah.
You were probably like wide. You probably gave it to her with both hands. Huh? You're like, here's my ID, man.
And it wasn't even the best part. It was such a bad ID that I didn't like actually make a horizontal one. It was the same vertical one I got from Nevada, but the date just I made it seem like I just didn't renew my license or whatever, so I didn't get the horizontal one because that's the only reference I had. You know,
that's funny, man. Yeah. But it still worked though.
Oh, it still worked. Yeah.
Did you end up like making more after that?
Yeah, I didn't. So I needed to pay off my little investment,
right?
And so I sold a couple, but I never made it like a huge thing. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it would probably be like too risky at that point, right?
For sure. I was like, let me just get these kinks out and like, let me just try to, cover the cost of this and then I'm good. And it covered the cost and that was it.
That's funny, man. That's crazy. It's funny how creative college kids get when they really need something, right?
Yeah.
Man, well, let me tell you a story. So freshman year, Washington State University back in 2014, I was in Straight Parham Hall. So people that, go to Wazoo, they know Straight Parham on the north side of campus. And I was on the 5th floor. Oh, wait, it was the 4th floor. And man, this guy, like on a random Thursday night, decided to do a bunch of LSD. And that wasn't abnormal, right? People do drugs in college. But this guy did so much drugs that he was trying to break out of the 6th floor window. Like he was literally like pounding on it. He broke the first pane. So he was successful in that and he started bleeding. Ugh. And then he was trying to break the second one, but I think it was like a type of glass that's like flexible. So he couldn't break through, thankfully. And like, dude, like a whole team of cops and like paramedics and stuff had to come and try to like restrain the guy first and then get him medical help for possible like overdose and also like the cuts and stuff. And it was just a bloody scene, dude. And if you had no context, you'd be like, what just happened here?
Yeah, it looked like a guy like stabbed somebody or killed somebody, huh?
Yeah, and dude, keep in mind, this is like 2 months into college. Like, I'm from a small town, bro. Like, you don't see this type of stuff. So I was like, oh wow, people are actually pretty crazy. Like, you got to be careful out here.
Yeah, it's like I'm cool seeing a 10-year-old drive a truck, but man, this guy taking LSD trying to jump out the window is a little too wild for me.
Exactly, man. And I mean, you know, over time, after 4 years at Wazoo, I saw a lot more crazy stuff. But that story just sticks out to me because it's like, dude, like, that's wild.
Yeah,
like
I can't imagine, man. I've seen that happen. I'm not seen it, but on the internet, I've seen it happen on people with who've taken crystal meth. So I don't know, like those like super, you know, psychedelic or like I don't know stuff that really alters your mental state kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man.
I wanna talk a little bit about like kind of the first time topic and continue that. Let's talk about the first time you got your car. Speaking about the 10-year-old driving a car.
Yeah, man. So I got my first car. So I think it was just Washington State. I don't think it was a small town thing. But if you like started your like driver's ed classes at 15 and a half, at 16, you can get your license. And so that's what I did. I got my first car, man. It was actually a 2001 Ford Ranger. Really nice car, right?
Oh, damn.
And
a
it
truck?
looked really cool. Yeah, it was a truck.
Oh, okay.
Small bed, like really small truck, just like 2-seater. And then you got the 2 seats in the back that flap down. Solid truck though for like a first car, you know, and it looks cool and you can haul some stuff. Love the truck, man. But it had like transmission problems. Oof. Yeah, I got it for like $3,000 too. And like, I think about 2 months in, my stepdad was like, yeah, you're going to want to get rid of this truck ASAP, like make it someone else's problem before it just completely dies out. So I ended up selling that 2001 Ford Ranger and I bought myself a 93 Honda Civic LX.
Damn.
So it's like the base package for the Honda Civic. But the key with this one is that it only had like 50,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And it was in pristine condition. The paint was beautiful. Interior was all original. They made no updates. It's like, I think it was only one owner and it was an older lady.
Oh, I was going to say, you buy it off of grandma or what?
Yeah, bought it at the dealership, but I think that they had just bought it off someone who was older. Yeah. And it was beautiful car, dude. And I loved it so much. So, you know, I bought that car and because it was in such good condition, I was like, this is going to be my car that I hold on to forever and eventually pass down. Right. Like I'll buy other cars, but I'm going to keep this one. Here's what happened. So I was working at Burger King like late at night during college all the time. So I'd go to school, or no, during high school, sorry, not college. I'd go to school all day and then work till like 1 or 2 in the morning sometimes. I'd get home and there was a truck parked on my street that wasn't usually there. And so I was going to like parallel park my car between this truck and like another car that was behind mine. We had like street parking and I tried to parallel park. Mind you, it's 2 in the morning. I was a decent parallel parker, but I'm like 16, dude. So I'm not the best at all.
Yeah.
And I like just whip it in and I went a little too early and I hit the truck. Damn. And so I got a big old dent in front of my car. Nothing happened to the truck. So I didn't even tell anybody anything. It didn't matter. But I was pissed, dude. It's 2 in the morning. I just worked a long shift. I just did a full day of school. And now I got a dent on my brand new car.
Damn.
I was pissed, dude. But I was like, you know what? I'll save up money. I'll get it fixed. It's no problem, right? About 4 months later, I'm driving in Othello, small town, like 6,000 people, right? So it's like in town, it's like the speed limit's like 20 miles an hour.
Oh.
So I'm crossing the main street and it's like on a hill and this person is like pulling out at the same time. So I'm at the stop. I look both ways. I don't see anybody. I see a car that stopped on the curb, but you know, I don't expect them to go. So I start going. The moment I cross, they dart out and they just hit me. And I did like a few spins.
Damn. So you rolled it?
No, just spun. Like I spun in place. Yeah, I didn't roll or anything.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's the one car accident that I've been involved in. It was a little scary, but honestly, it was like weird. It was like slow motion. I remember all the stuff that was in my car, like pennies and like
just see them floating up in slow motion.
Yeah, and it was slow motion. I remember spinning and like seeing like people that were on the street just looking at me like literally like in the movies, dude, like they froze and they're like, God. And I'm like just spinning, holding onto the wheel, like terrified, and then it just stops.
Damn.
And then I hear like a bunch of honking, and like my music was playing really loud. And it was like a little bit of a panic scenario, you know?
Wow.
But I was good. Thankfully, my airbags didn't deploy, nothing. So I didn't get any injuries to myself, thankfully. I get out, I check on the person. It was like a younger woman with a child in the car. So I made sure that they were okay. She looked super terrified. She right away tells me like, I don't have insurance. Like, don't call the cops. And I was like,
you're like,
no.
perfect.
I was like, I'm calling the cops because you don't have insurance and we need to get this documented. And I was like, what just happened, bro? Like, I'm 16. I just got my license, right? This is terrifying. So I get it all figured out. The cop actually let me drive the car home, even though like she hit my wheel. So my wheel was bent inward.
Oh, damn.
But the cop was like, you should be able to make it home. It was like 3 or 4 blocks away. So
okay.
Drove it home. Got the insurance money, bought myself a Dodge Interturban, like a big boat car, and yeah.
You're like, nobody's gonna knock me off of this one.
Yeah, dude, I was ready. I was like, nah, we're coming strong now. We're ready.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but
so she paid for everything then?
The insurance company did. I don't know what happened to her, honestly. I'm not sure how that works. I was like 16, so I knew I was getting money, so I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you, man. At least you got that resolved, you know.
Yeah, man. What about you? Any
Yeah, no crazy first car stories for me. I did have one car accident story, but it was I guess I'll talk about it. So in my first car, you know that gym obviously at WSU?
Oh yeah.
But there's like a little parking lot in front of it.
Yep.
Before you go down the hill. So I was parked in the little parking lot, and for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's basically a 2-lane parking lot. There's one in, and it rounds like it's basically a long oval. So you go in one way, you drive up, and then you go out the other way. But the in out is only one like point of entry.
Right.
So the whole thing is just a long oval. And so anyway, so I was parked in that parking lot on the side of where people would go to leave. And when I went to the gym, I came out, got in my car. I didn't realize there was a line waiting to get out of this parking lot. And the line was long enough to where there was a car, a white BMW, a new like white BMW at the time that was backed up just enough to the point where when I backed up my car, our bumpers rubbed up against each other.
Ooh.
And as a college student, I'm like, crap, because I wasn't insured.
Oh man, you were the bad guy.
I was the bad guy. But it honestly, like, just the bumpers just kissed each other. You know, like they just
nothing too bad.
Yeah, pause on that one. But anyway, I scooted back out of it, and I checked the damage, and there was just like a little bit of paint rub. I mean, it was to the point where I could have like probably got a little like rag and like put a little bit of like paint remover or whatever, like the stuff that you would use to rub off the paint, and it would have looked brand new. But this woman, her car was under her dad's name, and the dad's car was under his business name, so she shouldn't have been driving it either. Like, so she was kind of in a weird scenario too. And so anyway, we dealt with it outside of insurance. Smart. And I paid her a couple $100, and I said, you know what, just keep it between us.
That's the way to do it, man.
Right.
Yeah, man, these have been good conversations. I'm really liking these roundtable talks, bro.
Yeah, me too. I like the casual conversational nature of it, and the fact that we can watch funny TikToks and react to it, and just not have like a super, refined structure around it. So if you guys are enjoying this, let us know in the comments, and also please like the video, subscribe to our channel to see more of these episodes. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the Roundtable Talk for Untapped Potential. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Peace.